let's get right to it. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Ya'alon.
Thank you for having me.
We just saw some of the numbers here. This looks like a very tight race. Recent polls show either a tight race or your party losing a little bit of ground. And as we can remind our viewers in Israel, it is not just about who wins, it is about who can actually form a government. So at this point in time, how do you form a government? Who are your partners?
First of all, we are just in the beginning. We joined forces just recently, ending the process 2 weeks ago, but becoming the leading party. And I believe that there is an expectation in Israel for a change. And that's what we are going to introduce. 3 former Chief of General Staff of the IDF, committed to the country, to the Jewish and democratic country, values, whatever. And there is an expectation. And I believe that at the end, it's not about right or left. I'm considered hawkish when it comes to security. But I do care about the values, Jewish and democratic values of the country. So I believe that we can create a coalition from what I call the rational right to the Zionist left. That's what we're looking for.
So who is that today? Who is the rational right and the Zionist left? Would you sit down, you mentioned you're hawkish on security, would you form a coalition with a Meretz, for example, or alternatively with an ultra-Orthodox party?
Our first phone call after winning the elections will be to the Likud party without Benjamin Netanyahu. Because of the corruption, because of the allegation, because of the way that he's leading the country in the last 3 years or so, in which we believe it's not Israel's interest in his mind, it's political survival. But we do appreciate the Likud party as a party, as well as the Labour Party. This will be the 2 first phone calls after the election.
Great. So your first phone call will be to the Likud party, but someone needs to answer the phone. So do you have in mind someone in the Likud party who is not Netanyahu that might answer you the phone to cooperate with you? Names?
Well, let's wait and see what will be the outcome of the elections. And we believe after we will become victorious, then Benjamin Netanyahu will have to make his mind whether to go on leading the party or not. And the Likud party members will have to make a decision whether to join us to a coalition or to go to the opposition.
But you know it needs 2 to tango. But let's go back to the first question. In order, we have seen the polls, we see the numbers, we see all the polls, not only our polls. And in order to form a government, and it is true that you are today leading, your party, the Blue and White, is leading, you need, you need, of course, the support of the Arab parties. Now, you yourself said that you're hawkish. How can you do it? It's numbers, it's figures.
It's not, it's a manipulation. Okay. Because we don't discuss it with the Arab non-Zionist parties, of course. We don't coordinate with them anything. But at the end of the day, when we talk about blocking cluster or blocking bloc for Netanyahu to create a coalition, he needs more than 60. And in this regard, it's a technical issue. Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, we are Zionists. We don't boycott Arabs at all. The Arab population. We have Arabs in our party, as in Likud parties are Arab members, but we are not going to cooperate with Arab parties which are not Zionists.
How do you win without their support? How do you form a government without their support?
At the end of the day, we have to look to the elections, the outcome, and the result of the elections. And I believe that it is in our hand to have, in our side, a bloc, not to allow Netanyahu to create a coalition. First of all, to be the leading party, as we now, according to the polls, but to have some more votes from what is called the right bloc on the other side.
I do just want to come back before we move on to the issue of some of the potential partners, because we really see a clear split. We see some on the left wing, and then we see a whole host of religious right-wing parties. So for you, for your Blue and White party, in your eyes, who is the party that is more natural for you to go to? You're going to have to choose between either the right-wing religious or the left-wing like Meretz. It's one or the other.
What is right and left in Israel? In the past, it was according to the economy. Socialists were considered leftist, and capitalists were considered rightist. This is not the story anymore. Then Oslo created the division between those who supported Oslo as leftist and those who rejected it as rightist. Nowadays, unfortunately, those who support Netanyahu are considered rightist, and those who criticize him, like even the President Rivlin, or Benny Begin talking about the rule of law, or Misha Arens, who passed away recently, calling to integrate the Arabs in our society to be considered leftist. So what is right and left today? I claim that these elections are critical for our future regarding Jewish democratic values. We wish to have Jewish, democratic, prosperous, secured, and just society in our country. This is not the case today.
Okay, so you spoke about right and left. So permit me, who's sitting on your left-hand side, but maybe might vote right, who knows, ask you a question. Let's go back to the old division. For example, for a permanent peace, give back, or settlements, what is your position, for example?
Do you have a partner for any kind of final settlement?
So if we don't have a partner, what is the mistake of Prime Minister Netanyahu?
Oh, so we have to make our mind, in one hand, not to delude ourselves in having peace now. It is irrational, as well as not annexing territories in a way that we will have a binational state, which is called all Israel, which is another irrational position. We are in the middle. And I'm hawkish, as you can understand. I rejected the disengagement plan of Sharon. I was very critical to the Oslo agreement after becoming head of the intelligence. So you can't
so I will ask you an important question.
any mistake about myself. But we found a way, even in our party, talking about Yesh Atid and the Resilience for Israel and my party, Telem, to understand that in between, we are not able to reach final settlement. On the other hand, we should avoid binational state. In between, we can make a lot.
You asked me, do we have a partner? Is that also the opinion of your partners? Do you have partners?
Sure, all of them.
So what is the middle ground? This is what I want to understand. You've come out clearly against a two-state solution in the past. You say that really this is not on the agenda now. You just said your party is also against a binational state, a so-called one-state solution. But you've also said that the West Bank has room for 1 or 2 million more Jewish settlers. So how do those two things go together? Isn't that taking the country in a direction of one state?
It's not about slogans. It's about the reality.
These are things you've said.
Yeah, but it's not about slogans. Because, you know, I am involved in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict since '92, when I was the division commander of Judea and Samaria, till the end of my military service as Chief General Staff, going to the disengagement, to the Al-Aqsa Intifada, the defensive shield, and so forth. There is no chance to have a partner in which he will be ready to recognize our right to live as a Jewish state in Tel Aviv. This is my conclusion. On the other hand, as I don't want to have a binational state, I'm happy that they enjoy political independence. They enjoy political independence. They have the parliament, the government, they have the leadership, whatever they call it, Rais or president, whatever. They decided to be divided into two political entities. One very hostile in the Gaza Strip. Again, we can manage very big sticks and carrots as well. So, and in Judea and Samaria, in the West Bank, they have an autonomy.
After the election, after April 9th, President Trump comes out with his peace plan. Jared Kushner and Greenblatt come here and say, okay, we're ready to talk. Let's do two states. So what does the blue and white government tell them? There's no deal?
We are ready to talk with everybody, to sit to the table. But of course, we have our way to keep our interest. And I'm familiar with these proposals of John Kerry, when I was a defense minister, Mitchell earlier, and others who came with very nice proposals, irrelevant to the reality on the ground. So we have to keep our interest, security, not to become binational state, to keep the Palestinian political independence, but to keep our interest in Judea and Samaria as well, the settlements, the people who live there, having any kind of arrangement without uprooting a single Jew, not talking even about uprooting any Arab. I know the way how to make it.
Imagine now I'm a viewer, and I view a member of the Blue and White Party for the first time. I'm sitting in Paris or in DC now. In what are you different? than Netanyahu's government in securing Israel or promoting peace? What is the main difference?
I worked with Benjamin Netanyahu for years. And I can tell you that I appreciate, in a way, his way of dealing with the external issues. Nevertheless, when we were challenged by John Kerry regarding the Jordan Valley as an example, I was the one who blocked it as a defense minister because of our security interest. It wasn't Netanyahu. And other examples in which I heard very nice slogans regarding eliminating Hamas in Gaza, but when you come to make it, it's something different, talking about our interest. So I'm really rightist, hawkish in my way. I proved it by rejecting the disengagement plan of Sharon and not using slogans, but to make it in a way that our interests will be enhanced.